This is why time is flying by. Jesus is about to return. By the end of this video, you'll understand 5 reasons multiple biblical timelines all point to the same narrow window of history, and why that window may be closing sooner than anyone expects. Here's what most people don't realize. There's a prophecy hidden in Hosea that reveals exactly how long Jesus would be away before his return. When you combine it with Jerusalem's prophetic clock, the truth is undeniable. But here's what makes this even more urgent, and this will become crystal clear when we examine why God is allowing believers to be tested right now. That feeling you have that time is accelerating? It might not be psychological. It might be prophetic. Let me show you why. Number 1. Why time is flying by. Before we dive into the prophetic timelines, we need to address this phenomenon that so many people are experiencing. Because if you felt like time is moving faster than it used to, you're not alone. And the explanation might be far more significant than simple psychology. Every year now seems to vanish faster than the one before. Now, a skeptic would say, this is just mass psychology. Social media creates the illusion of time passing quickly. Information overload compresses our perception. The pace of modern life makes everything feel accelerated. And those factors are real. But here's the question that should haunt every thinking person. What if God is using those factors? What if the acceleration isn't just psychological, but providential? What if the creator of time itself is allowing humanity to feel something spiritually true? That the end of the age is approaching faster than anyone imagined. But here's what's truly chilling. The same acceleration you feel in time is happening in every system necessary for end times prophecy. Surveillance, digital currency, deception technology. It's all converging at once in this generation, as if the stage is being set for something specific. But here's what makes this even more compelling, and this is something that will become crucial when we examine the convergence of prophetic timelines. The Bible contains a hidden prophecy that may tell us exactly how long the church age would last. And if that prophecy is accurate, we're not just approaching the end of the age. We may be living in its final years. Hidden in the book of Hosea is what might be the most precisely timed prophecy in Scripture, one that connects mathematically to other biblical timelines and points to a specific era that should make every believer pay attention. Hosea was a prophet who lived one of the most painful stories in Scripture. God commanded him to marry a woman named Gomer, who would be unfaithful to him. She would leave him, pursue other lovers, and break his heart repeatedly. And God did this deliberately as a living illustration of Israel's spiritual adultery. Just as Gomer was unfaithful to Hosea, Israel had been unfaithful to God, worshiping idols, making alliances with pagan nations, abandoning the covenant that defined their identity. And it's from this context of divine heartbreak that we get one of the most specific prophetic timelines in all of Scripture. But here's what makes this prophecy different from almost any other in the Bible. And this will become staggering when you see how it aligns with Jerusalem's clock and the fig tree generation. Hosea gives us actual numbers, measurable time frames, a countdown hidden in plain sight for 2,000 years. In Hosea 5:14-15, God declares his intention to withdraw from Israel until they acknowledge their offense. For I will be unto Ephraim as a lion, and as a young lion to the house of Judah. I, even I, will tear and go away. I will take away, and none shall rescue him. I will go and return to my place, till they acknowledge their offense, and seek my face. In their affliction they will seek me early. Now watch this carefully, because the implications are staggering. I will go and return to my place. This prophecy was initially fulfilled when God allowed Israel to be conquered and scattered by the Assyrians and Babylonians. But like many biblical prophecies, it has multiple layers of fulfillment. And the ultimate fulfillment came when Israel rejected their Messiah, and God literally went and returned to his place when Jesus ascended to heaven after his resurrection. But here's where this prophecy becomes absolutely mind-blowing. In Hosea 6:1-2, we find Israel's future response to this withdrawal. Come, and let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn, and he will heal us. He hath smitten, and he will bind us up. After 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. After 2 days, in the third day. At first glance, this might seem like typical Hebrew poetry about God's restoration of Israel. But here's what changes everything, and this connects directly to why time feels like it's accelerating. The Apostle Peter gives us a divine time conversion that unlocks this prophecy. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Many believe that Peter isn't speaking metaphorically here. He's giving us a mathematical key for understanding prophetic timing. In God's reckoning, one day equals 1,000 years. And if we apply this conversion to Hosea's prophecy, something extraordinary emerges. But here's what will send chills down your spine. And this is why what you're feeling about time isn't just in your head. When you do this math, it points to a window of history that we may already be inside. After 2 days equals after 2,000 years. In the third day equals in the third millennium, what we understand as the millennial kingdom when Christ reigns on earth. Now let's do the math. If Jesus was crucified and ascended around 30 to 33 AD, and if Hosea's 2 days represent 2,000 years, then the revival of Israel and the beginning of the third day would occur somewhere around 2030 to 2033. But here's what makes this even more compelling. Israel was indeed revived as a nation in 1948, approaching the 2,000-year mark from the crucifixion. For nearly 1,900 years, there was no nation of Israel, no homeland, no government, no military, no unified identity as a nation. Then, in one day, May 14, 1948, Israel became a nation again. This fulfilled Isaiah 66:8. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. The revival of Israel in 1948 occurred roughly 1,916 years after the crucifixion. But Hosea's prophecy doesn't stop there. In the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. If the third day represents the third millennium from the crucifixion, this points to the millennial kingdom, when Jesus will reign on earth for 1,000 years, and Israel will finally live in his sight, in his physical presence, forever. Now here's what should make every believer sit up and pay attention. And if the 2,000-year period is concluding, then we're not just approaching the end of the church age. We may be living in its final years. The acceleration you feel, the sense that time is running out, might not be psychological at all. It might be prophetic confirmation that the 2 days are almost complete. But here's what makes this even more sobering. And this is something that will become absolutely critical when we reach the warning to the church. If these timelines are accurate, then the generation living at the end of the 2 days faces the greatest test in church history. And the evidence suggests that many believers are completely unprepared for what's coming. But Hosea isn't the only clock ticking. Jerusalem has its own prophetic timeline, and when you see how it aligns with Hosea, the convergence will take your breath away. Jerusalem's clock, the times of the Gentiles. Now that you understand Hosea's hidden timeline, I need to show you another prophetic clock that's been ticking for nearly 2,000 years. And in 1967, something happened that may have marked one of the most significant prophetic shifts in history. Jesus made a specific prophecy about Jerusalem that gives us a measurable timeline for the end of the age. In Luke 21:24, he declared, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled." This prophecy has clear historical benchmarks that we can trace. In 70 AD, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem exactly as Jesus predicted. The temple was torn down stone by stone. The Jewish people were scattered among the nations, and Jerusalem fell under Gentile control, where it would remain for nearly 1900 years. Think about the parade of foreign powers that trampled Jerusalem during those centuries. The Romans ruled until the Byzantine Empire took over. Then came the Islamic Caliphates, followed by the Crusaders, followed by the Mamluks, followed by the Ottoman Empire for 400 years. After World War I, the British took control. And when Israel declared independence in 1948, Jordan immediately captured East Jerusalem and the Old City. For nearly 2 millennia, the words of Jesus remained true. Jerusalem was trodden down by the Gentiles. Foreign flags flew over the Temple Mount. Foreign soldiers patrolled the ancient streets. Foreign governments decided who could access the holy sites. But here's what's truly striking, and this connects directly to what we discovered in Hosea. Jesus didn't say Jerusalem would be trampled forever. He said it would happen until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Until. That word implies a termination point, a moment when Gentile control would end and something new would begin. And then came 1967. In June of that year, Israel faced enemies on every border threatening its annihilation. In a stunning military campaign that lasted only 6 days, Israel not only survived, but captured territory that would reshape the Middle East forever. The Sinai Peninsula, the Golan Heights,